Hello, magic makers, and welcome back to the Metaphysical Apothecary. We are your hosts, Shannon and Megan,
Hi, everyone.
also known as the Scorpio Sisters, here to explore the mysterious, the magical, and the arcane.
So, when you diminish a god's power through time, whether it's a conquering force or Christianization or what have you, the goddess is usually turned into a soft, approachable domestic creature, and the god is turned into a walking hormone with knives.
Yeah, Hades in particular. Aries is another one. You don't have a good perception of Aries most of the time.
No.
You don't have a decent perception of Hades most of the time.
No. Do you want to go ahead and talk about Aries?
Yeah, I guess. So Aries is, as we know him, god of war, slaughter, bloodshed. He's usually portrayed as this toxic, masculine, alpha, hormonal mess that just wants to kill everything and is always on the battlefield and is always looking to kill. And he doesn't care who he's killing as long as he's killing. And as long as he's in war, he's happy.
Mm-hmm.
But that's actually a propaganda perception created by the Olympians because Ares is the only god that did not conform to the new way of doing things, to the new way of perceiving the world. So at one point in time, Ares, who was always a child of Hera, although may not always be the child of Zeus, was fostered, which is actually a very common thing in Greek mythology before the Olympian pantheon came into place. He was fostered by Priapus, who's a nature, rustic fertility god. He likes vegetable gardens and he likes the hedges. He also likes the forest, but he's very wild and likes to find wild vegetables just as much as he likes to grow vegetables. He's also known for having a very exaggerated masculine organ.
For anyone who is unfamiliar with how Priapus was portrayed, Google image search Priapus Pompeii. You'll find out what we mean.
Yes. And he's the one who was Ares' foster father. So when you're fostering a child who is not yours in the ancient mythos and traditions, it's not so much that you became their father figure, it's that you help them mature into a adult. And the way that Priapus did that for Ares was that he taught him the first thing he taught him. The very first thing he taught this child, God, was how to dance. Ares is the lord of the dance.
The original.
Yes, the original lord of the dance, although there's some competition in the Celtic pantheon.
There definitely is.
That was the first thing he did, and he did it for two reasons. One was because he's a fertility god who is also teaching Ares how to seduce, court, and woo women with respect. And that's actually something that's lost in Ares' mythos. He was very loving and respectful towards women. He is a serial monogamist. He never got married, but he was only ever in a relationship with one woman at a time.
Isn't there evidence also to suggest that he's bi or pansexual?
There's no evidence to show that he's bi or pansexual, but that he was open to having orgies.
Sex positive.
Yes, sex positive. He's also supportive of women. He's tried to support Aphrodite as she was trying to manifest within the Olympian pantheon her warrior side, which was repressed.
Yep.
He treated his daughters as well as and loved them as much as he did his sons. This is key because in ancient Greek, especially Hellenistic times where the Olympian pantheon was strong, women were not even seen as citizens. You didn't always have fathers loving their daughters. You had them selling their daughters to men of their same age when they were 12. It's not a judgment on their society, but it is a reality of their society. This is what they did. So when a girl was raped during that time period, it was the girl's fault. We still try to victimize or blame the victim.
Yep. It wasn't the girl's fault, but she was the one who was blamed.
Yes. Ares, on the other hand, had one of his daughters raped by a son of Poseidon, Ares got really pissed, said, "Oh, hell no," and went and killed that child of Poseidon, who dared to touch his daughter without her permission. If he had her permission, he wouldn't have said anything because, sex positive. Go do you. You did it without her permission. She was not willing. You raped her. You are a criminal. You do not deserve any consideration by me. And now you are dead.
Yep.
He's also the only god to have never raped a woman. Like, we don't have very much evidence to show that Hades raped Persephone. We only have evidence to show that he, quote unquote, abducted her. But there's still a rape myth associated with Hades. There is no rape myth associated with Ares. The only one is where he kills a son of Poseidon because he sees his daughter as just as valid and just as worthy of love and affection and consideration and respect as the son of Poseidon. And when the son of Poseidon chooses not to do that, he takes action, goes on trial, and is acquitted because the goddesses all side with him. Ares gets a bad rap because of negative propaganda by the Olympian worshippers for not fitting into this new perspective that they had on life. And so they villainize him at their time period, and we continue the villainization, the diminishing of Ares and the divine masculine that he represented.
Yeah, because he does represent the original divine masculine from what we can discover from prehistoric and primordial deity worship. It wasn't necessarily that the divine feminine was above the divine masculine, but they had very different roles than they were pressed into as patriarchy became more of the norm in cultural formation. Another dark god who doesn't get as much attention as she should and is maligned often when she is spoken about is Hecate. So Hecate is an extremely ancient goddess. She has origins in the Mesopotamian region, but we're not quite able to pinpoint where she comes from because she's got worshippers in Anatolia. She's got worshippers possibly as far away as Egypt.
As north as Russia?
Yeah, she is ancient and she is pervasive, but she's kind of been reduced to being the goddess of witchcraft and gateways and necromancy. Now, it doesn't seem like she was reduced very much because those are some pretty powerful things to be in charge of. But Hecate's original place was actually as the mother of the cosmos. She was the creator of the whole cosmos and the savior goddess who actually just made everything. So she was the goddess of the stars. She was the goddess of the underworld. She's the goddess of necromancy and witchcraft because she's the goddess of souls, basically, was her original purpose. So she was diminished from that and placed solely in the underworld, which she seems fairly happy there, but that's not the only place she belongs. And then she is given the role of doing these things that are seen as very unsavory, necromancy, witchcraft, both very maligned things that are deeply misunderstood by both ancient and modern peoples, right? And then there's the whole idea of her being the goddess of portals and gateways and boundaries, liminal spaces, spaces that make people deeply uncomfortable. If you've ever been in a Target after it's closed, it can be a creepy, creepy place. I happen to love those kinds of spaces, but many people get very uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
So Hecate is the goddess of those unsavory things. And I'm using air quotes as I say that. But she is also absolutely the goddess of our essence.
And potentially of the path that you're walking.
I mean, shadows are a liminal space, so she rules over them as well. So she raises her torch and dispels the shadows because she commands them and reveals your path.
The forks in your path as well, which can just be as important as the path.
She also has the keys to open doors or close them and lock them. This is one of the aspects of her that those of us who follow her may not enjoy, is that sometimes she'll close a door, lock it, stand in front of it, and tell you to walk away. And it's like, but I want to go in there. And she's like, no, you don't need to be in there right now. Go play with the dogs, because she's another goddess who is heavily associated with dogs. But one of her roles is actually kind of keeping the boundaries of our reality intact and not allowing other energies to enter our dimension that would harm it or make it unstable. Additionally, Hecate being a goddess of necromancy is really, it's just magically communing with the dead. That's pretty much all it is. Necromancy gets a bad rap in media. If for the most part, you're not going to have people who practice necromancy raising people from the dead. That's not actually possible for most beings to do.
Nope.
In true necromancy, you would normally be calling up spirits, trying to contact spirits. You would be going to places where the dead dwell, spending some time in cemeteries. Again, that's another liminal space between life and death that Hecate rules over, and contemplating the mysteries of our transition from life to death. Now, it's not to say that these dark gods that we're talking about are not dangerous. We don't want to give you that impression either.
No, but like gods are also quite dangerous sometimes as well, if not all the time.
Yes. If you anger them, if you disturb a sacred base or a being that is sacred to them, if you harm one of their dedicants or an animal that is sacred to them, you're probably going to feel their wrath. But as Shannon just stated, that goes for any deity.
Even Jesus Christ has his anger moments that he flips out on.
Mm-hmm.
Recorded in the New Testament.
Braiding his own whip and going into the temple.
Yes. And braiding a whip, that takes time.
It takes at least 3 hours.
Yeah, it takes time and it takes effort. So there isn't a lot of emanations that don't have a fierce side to them when something happened to step on that particular trail.
Right.
Even the ones that are gods of war, emanations of compassion.
Exactly. So all that being a dark deity really means is that they're ruling over areas of existence that are traditionally considered shadowy or frightening, like death, like war, like mischief, or even knowledge, the acquisition of knowledge. They say ignorance is bliss for a reason. Sometimes people are very disturbed by things they discover, and it's like, I regret knowing this. It's not that the knowledge isn't useful, it's that they regret knowing what they know now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all we have on our topic for today. Thank you so much for listening in, and we hope you'll join us again soon. In the meantime, you can follow us for more witchy wisdom, both here and on our blog. And you can also check out our original art on Society 6 for sacred decor and more. Thanks again for joining us. Go make some magic and live your best life.
Bye.